Do you remember the Peter McKinnon era where he just randomly got on a speedboat and decided to edit from a speedboat?
The boat is our new office. We're gonna have so much fun!
Well, that's what I'm doing today, except it's like an €80 rust bucket in Amsterdam. So this is the GX800. This is the camera that I crowned the winner in my tiny budget camera-a-thon recently. And I still maintain that bang for buck, it is about the best that you can get. I haven't done a dedicated video on it, so I'm out in Amsterdam, in case you didn't already figure that out, to take it on some street photography and also fully review it. The thing I love about this camera and a lot of the smaller Lumix cameras is it is just super intuitive and easy to use. It just doesn't get in your way when you're out and about shooting. And I think that's a really important point, to be honest, because you do need to have a camera that you just know inside out when you're shooting. The GX800 came out in 2017, so it's a little bit more modern than a lot of my tiny camera series cameras. And for that, you do get the more modern menus, and you do get things like time-lapse and Wi-Fi features as well. And we have the old faithful flippy screen of joy, and a flash. Now, other colour variations are available, but this was cheap enough that I thought it would be worth spray painting, and I regret nothing, but your mileage may vary. There are other interesting colours beyond the black and the silver with this lineup. Now, the build quality is really quite plastic, fantastic. It's very light, and it clearly isn't meant to be a flagship camera by any stretch of the imagination. But it's sturdy enough and it's light enough that I can just throw it in the bag and know that everything will be okay. Now, one sticking point with the GX800, which may be a deciding factor for you, is we don't have an EVF. We only have the back screen for our compositions. I don't mind that because I tend to shoot from the hip quite often, but some people in the comments of my previous videos have said that cameras like the Lumix GM5 might be a better alternative because it's a very similar form factor, but it does have the EVF. I haven't managed to get my hands on one yet because they are like twice the price of this one, but maybe in a future video we'll see. I do love my job. I really do. So one thing that I quite dislike about the GX800 is it does take a micro SD rather than a full-sized SD. It's a small point because if you're only shooting photography, the micro SD will be more than fast enough. I just think it's a really weird choice because the GM1 and the GM5 and the PL6, etc., all have full-sized SDs. So there are no frills with the GX800. We don't have IBIS, we don't have weather sealing, we don't have an EVF. But it does the job. It's cheap, it's fun, and most importantly, I think the image quality is super. And I think that's basically all that matters when you are looking for an affordable everyday carry camera. Now, I am on a 30mm-ish kick at the moment. This 14mm f2.5 pancake lens has basically lived on this camera, and I think it's a match made in heaven because it's very, very small, very light, and it just works so well for street photography. So this is the setup that I've been using for all of these photographs, and if you are looking for a smaller pancake prime, I highly recommend this one. Another reason that I love this camera is you do have time-lapse features, and it's great that you can just plonk it on a side when you're having lunch or something and get some really interesting time-lapses without much effort. I think every camera should have a time-lapse feature at this point. I think it just should. It just should. How are you liking Nerds on Tour, by the way? This is like, none of this has been in the studio. This is so much fun. I get a lot of comments about why don't you just use your phone? And the reason I will maintain again and again, the hill I will die on, is the raw files, even in a Micro Four Thirds camera, give you so much more dynamic range and push and pull compared to even a brilliant phone. In 99% of the circumstances, this has got all the dynamic range that you could ever ask for, and I love how much editing leeway you have with these types of cameras. So after much research and many a camera tested, I'm still a huge fan of the GX800, and I would recommend it to anyone who's looking for an affordable everyday carry camera. Watch more in the Tiny Camera series to see some alternatives that are available that I also kind of love because I'm a camera nerd. Yeah.
I feel like, you know, when you're watching like Tim Allen on Home Improvement and he drives like that, I feel like that's what I'm doing.